Oh, welcome everybody. I gotta say, this is the biggest crowd I've had yet. This is great. Wow. Unbelievable. This is wonderful. Wow, I'm telling you, this is great. So, today we're gonna talk about restaurants and bars in Franklin. So, a lot of my sources are the Franklin Register. That was the first newspaper that the town had. It's back in the 1880s, 1870s. A lot of good information. Then the Franklin Sentinel, that went for about 100 years. A lot of good stuff there too. Stanley Chilson, I'm sure a lot of you know who he was. Took a lot of movies and pictures and things, so a wealth of information there. There's these Sanborn and fire insurance maps. I'm not too sure we have too many of those in here today, but they've been very helpful in helping me to figure out where things are. And then personal pictures, postcards of people have given me a lot of good information, the Vazellas and everything, a lot of good information, so taking advantage of it. And of course the Historical Museum, if you haven't been there, you really should go. It's really a good take, a lot of good stuff there. Yeah, and the gift shop, yeah, that's right, don't forget the gift shop. Yeah. So let's start with the Franklin Diner, which was the original name. Then it became the B&B Diner, and finally the Main Street Diner. And there it is. Now, there were 3 lunch carts in that location over the years. The first one was put there in 1899. A guy named Willis Fairfield put it there. And then about 5 or 6 years later, a guy named Charlie Lawrence bought it, and he ran it for a while. And around 1906, 1907, he put a new one in. So he took that one out and put the next one in. And that one was there until about 1926, when he bought one from the Worcester Lunch Cart Company, and that's the diner we see there. And that's the one we remember. So it was put there in 1926. And it was called the Franklin Diner at that time. That's what he named it. And there it is.
So that was Joe's Diner?
This one is Joe's Diner. Okay. Yeah, we're going to see how they added on to it in the front and in the back. Yeah. Okay, you know where Teddy Gallagher's is in downtown? If you come up Depot Street and you come to a stop, right across the street in that alley, right in there. You're going to see a picture of it in a minute, where it was, but it was right downtown, right by, right there. Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. Victor Pizzini's shoe store is right there. And when Victor bought the block, he put a little addition on the side where that diner used to be. Yeah, you'll see in a minute. The picture will make it clear. Huh. Now, we take for granted gas through the pipes and everything in the ground and everything, but until 1926, Franklin didn't have gas. Then they finally did get gas, and the diner was the first place to get gas. Was Charlie Lawrence's lunch cart, and so they installed it, and they were the first people to get gas. Here's a picture from. This is about 1942. But in 1938, Charlie Lawrence decided he wanted to sell the diner. So there was a couple of people that worked for him. One guy was Elmer Fleming, and the other guy was Carlton Mason. But as with everybody in Franklin, they had nicknames. Buzzer Mason and Bozo Fleming. Bozo Fleming, and Buzzer Mason. A lot of people remember Buzzer Mason working down at Sherman Chevrolet. You know that. So they bought the diner, and they said, let's name it the B&B. So that's the answer to that trivia question. What does B&B stand for? Buzzer and Bozo. Yeah.
Did they drag that thing in there with horses? Was that a horse when they brought it in?
Well, let's see. In 1926, I would say they probably had a truck that would tow it in. They had wheels, and I know Al can tell that they had the wheels under there for quite a few years. So they did bring it in, but I think probably vehicles. The first lunch cart, and probably the second one, I think they were probably horse, they pulled in with it. I bet you those were a lot smaller. I've never seen pictures of the first two. I've never seen pictures of them, but they call them lunch carts, so it gives me the impression they were small. And this one was really small, kind of. In fact, up in Worcester, the Boulevard Diner, there's one of these Worcester car diners, and it's almost an exact, well, it's the same company, so it's like going back into time to go to that diner. It's really a cool thing. So.
To the left, Joe, the auto store.
Yep. Yeah, that was Western Auto, believe it or not.
Western, I couldn't make that out.
Yeah, it used to be called Arrow Store, but then they changed it to Western Auto. Then Western Auto built it over on West Central Street. that macaroni company that's now out of there.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, that was Western Auto where they were there. Yep. Now, and Buzzer and Bozo not only bought the diner in 1938, they also bought a bakery that was in the back of the diner. It was Charlie Lawrence also owned that one, and then they added more to their holdings. Down the street there was this Downy Flake bakery shop. They took that one over too. They called that the M&F Pastry Shop, which I'm sure stood for Mason and Fleming. So, but then in late 1938, Buzzer and Bozo said, you know something, let's get out of the bakery business and let's just concentrate on the diner. So then they sold all that stuff off, but they kept the diner. And like the article said, the desire of the boys was to get out of the bakery end of the business. That was their reason. So they concentrated on the diner. From a Stanley Chilson picture, he said this was Bozo, Fleming, and other people. So I've seen other pictures of Bozo, so that's him with the white hat. I got a funny feeling that guy with the white shirt on the right, I wonder if that's Buzzer Mason. I really don't know, though. I've been kind of guessing, but does anybody remember Buzzer Mason? What he? Yeah, yeah. I remember him being tall. He also has the cowboy hat. Oh, very well dressed. And I don't know. I'm just wondering, but I know that's definitely a Bozo right there. So. Then this is about 1942. This is right after they bought the diner and they painted it and they put awnings. Really looked nice too. And those two guys in the picture are William Stewart and Walter Hill. So, and you can see the drugstore eventually became Puritan Drugs, but at that time it was Dana Drug. And then in later years they added to the front, and they also added a little kitchen in the back. And I know somebody that dug out the cellar too one summer. They took buckets out, Al. Oh my God. 1959. Yeah, they dug the cellar out underneath the diner, and Al spent the whole summer down there taking the dirt out bucket by bucket. Oh man. So anybody recognize the guy with the black suit going in the diner? Chuck DeWitt. Yep. And it's the back. The policeman has got his back, but I know that's Lester Talamini. So. And there's Joe Lazzarini. Unbelievable. If you went to the diner and Joe was in a good mood, he'd put on a show, let me tell you. I mean, I could do a whole talk on just the Main Street Diner, let me tell you. I worked there in high school, when I was in high school. I worked there like after school. And I mean, he'd kick his feet off the ceiling, he'd throw plates around, he'd spoons off the roof. I mean, it was really great. Really, really fun. And that diner was open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year for over 25 years. If you could depend on, if you needed to eat, you could go there and get a good meal.
They had pinball machines.
Yeah, been pinball machine in the front. Somebody posted some pictures of the diner in later years before they took it out of there. But this is an actual picture of the diner inside. That's the actual booths that were there. And of course, working there, if you came into the diner and you wanted to eat, you'd sit at the booth. A waiter or a waitress would not come over to you. I'd be on the other side of the counter. Hi, what do you want? And then I'd pass the food over to you, over the counter to you. So, yeah. And there's Joe. That's a chalkboard right there. And there was a guy, Walter Doyle. They called him Ducky Doyle. He had meticulous handwriting, printing. And every night he'd be sitting at the counter and Joe would say, okay, tomorrow it's going to be braised beef, $1. Chili con carne, $1. That's what the meals were going for, $1. And he would write out that chalkboard every night. Perfect lettering, yeah. Now that steam table, this is a picture I got off the internet. That's a typical steam table that we had. And you can see how there was hot water underneath, and those stainless steel buckets were immersed in the hot water, and that's how they kept the food warm. And there was a warming thing up on the top, and so that was typical of what we used. And this again inside the diner. That's the actual milk machine. The handles are gone, but there was these handles on the bottom that you lift up and the milk would come out. and the milk would come in these big cardboard containers, and you'd stick them in there and run the hose through the thing, and that's how you'd get a glass of milk or whatever. And or you make a frap. You know, they had the machine there, the blender, and a scoop of ice cream and milk, and so. Yeah. Now that stainless steel hood, I'm sure a lot of people remember. Joe would get, you know, some change, throw it up on the top of the hood. Over the course of years, and I'm talking maybe 15, 20 years, all that change up in there was starting to get really heavy and greasy too. But the thing started to sag, and it was like this after a while. And you could look, you see all the change up there. And then I guess it finally collapsed from what I heard. All the weight of that change. I mean,
Why did you do that?
just, he didn't want to deal with all this change, and, you know, if he got a tip, he goes, just throw it up there. I was told he gave the money away to charity, so, but that's the kind of guy Joe was, so. And today, that's where the diner was. You know, Victor Bassini added that on, so.
Question.
Yes,
You said it was open 24/7. Was there like mill workers somewhere getting out at
oh yeah,
middle of the night so they would stop there?
absolutely, yeah. Or people like us on a Friday night, out and having a few beers with the boys.
Yeah, but
We were
5
21 though.
in the morning.
And yeah, we'd go and eat breakfast and everything. Yeah, sure.
I think Black Cutler, American Felt, they all work 3 to 11.
That's
11
right.
to 7.
That's right. I worked 11 to 7 there myself, so I can tell you, yeah.
What would the population have been?
In Franklin, back in the 60s, what do you think, 5,000, 6,000 maybe?
I graduated in 74, and it was around 16 or 18.
Yeah, I could have, probably, yeah. And now it's probably 40 or 50. Wow. Yeah. Now, the Clark Square Diner, which became Brunelli's Diner, which became Kami's Restaurant, which became the Rome Restaurant. Now, this is the block where today's Rome Restaurant is. The Bullock and Oil used to be in the building on the far right. That building was originally built as a barber shop. The building on the far left, on the corner of Cottage Street, Victor Bazzini had a shoe store there at one point. Other things. The second one to the on the right used to be, it was actually a bakery in there. Enegrin used to have a bakery in there, and then eventually Soxy DeCecco had his furniture store in there. But the building with the blue arrow was originally built as a grocery store for a guy named James McKinnon in 1895. And then, over the years, it became a bowling alley and a pool room. And then, in the 1930s, the Brunelli family bought the block. And then it was still a bowling alley. Down where the red arrow is, there was this little diner in there. It was called the Clark Square Diner. And in about 1935, around when this picture was taken, they took the Clark Square Diner and moved it into where the bowling alley was. And that's what we see, the Clark Square Diner sign there. So that's where that was.
So did they have was there a bowling alley underneath the cinema that Tico had?
Well, that was a different bowling alley. I'll tell you, I could do a whole talk on bowling alleys in Franklin.
There's that many of them, huh?
Oh, yeah. You're talking about the one under the cinema.
In the cinema.
Yep. That was owned by Al Fico, because in the 50s, he moved it down to East Central Street. Right. But there was this bowling alley behind right just on the other side of the bridge. There was a bowling alley back there. And then there was one behind where Thunderbird Cleaners was. I'm telling you, it was bowling alleys all over the place. I'm going to do a talk on bowling alleys, so yeah. Oh, yeah. Won't take long, but anyways, so the Clark Square Diner moved to this location. And in 1948, they did a whole redesign. And if you ever go to the Rum Restaurant and walk out the back door, you'll see this clipping. What they did is it became Brunelli's Diner at that point. And they air conditioned it. And they had that little round booth in the front. How many remember the round booth in the front? Yeah, a few people, yeah. And they had all these horseshoe bars in there too. And yeah, so now the Brunellis owned the family. The Brunelli family owned the diner until the 50s. And there's a nice picture from about 1952. This is from my father's home movies. But that's what it would look like. But then, sometime in the 50s, a guy named Nunzio Bonina bought the place. and his wife's name was Carmela, and her maiden name was Sosi. That was Dr. Gus Sosi's sister. Her nickname was Carmi. So he says, "Oh, I'm name it Carmi's Restaurant," and they did, and they operated it until 1965, when the Colaci family bought it, and it became the Rome Restaurant. You can see Friday, November 19th, the grand opening of the new Rome Restaurant. And Jimmy Colaci gave me some pictures, and I was able to take pictures of his pictures. There's his parents, Eugenio and Filomena Colaci. And then I saw a picture posted on Facebook. It must have been taken the same day because she's wearing the same dress and the same hair and everything, so I'm thinking it was the same day. Okay, these are the waitresses in the Rome Restaurant, from left to right.
That was Jenny Narducci.
Okay, so let's go from left to right. Who's the one on the far left? Margaret, Cody, yep.
Margaret Cody from Medway.
Yep, one on the next to her.
Fifth,
Biffy Tully, yep, Dorothy Tully. She lives across the street from me on Dean Avenue, her and Larry, yep. Next one, with the blue dress.
Mary Ann College.
Let's see, from left to right, I got Jenny Narducci Guillemette. Yeah. Then the one next to her, I got another Jenny Narducci. There's two, maybe, I think that's right. Correct me if I'm wrong.
three Jenny Narducci's.
I was going to say, okay, all right, yeah.
Not mistaken, that I know of.
Okay, well, there's two of them. And then Filomena, and then Betty Carlucci and Dolores Narducci.
Dolores, yeah.
Dolores Narducci,
Dolores Narducci.
yeah. So there's some of the waitresses, and of course the owner.
It's a nice pitch.
Yeah. Now, one other clipping that Jimmy showed me was a clipping when they were taking down the Rome Restaurant, the old Rome Restaurant. They tore down the whole block. I wasn't in Franklin at the time, so I don't remember a lot of this. But I guess in 1987, they had a fire at the Rome Restaurant, and they decided, let's just tear the whole thing down and build a new Rome Restaurant. And so that's what they did. And there's that clipping. And the guy on the left, I guess his name was Junior Martello. And then Carmine Colaci is next to him. Apparently, Junior found a coin, and it read Britannia 1797. It had a picture of George III on it. He found that in there. Yeah. And he also found an old whiskey bottle. Probably empty. I mean.
You used to have one of those little Geiger counters. I used to remember them up the common all the
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, he must have.
Spare change.
Well, there you go. Must have been found a real rare coin there. Wow. Yeah. I was my wife and I were at the Rome the other day, and I said I got the picture of this out from I said, hey, look at this menu. This is the original menu from the Rome Restaurant. Look at it. It's unbelievable. Let me see some of the prices. Tenderloin steak, $4.25. And for drinks, you had wine, 50 cents a glass. I didn't see a wine cooler on there, though. That's my favorite. But anyway, so that's the first menu. Yeah. And today, the Rome Restaurant. Yeah. The Venice Cafe. Anybody hear of that one?
Guy Vazella, right?
Guy Vazella. Yeah. There he is. Gaetano Guy Vazella. Yeah. And she's not here. I saw Elaine Costello a little while ago. She couldn't make it. But Elaine gave me a few of these pictures and this clipping and everything. So thank you to Elaine. Now here's something. In 1927, Raphael Vazella, Guy's father, he said, they had a Dr. Smith apparently had property right where Malloy's garage is. And so Guy Vazella wanted to take the house away and build a theater. And I guess this theater was going to be 80 by 100 feet, one-story building of modern construction, and there would be 4 stores in it, cost $100,000. Now this is November of 1927. February 1928, 3 months later, the Morse Opera House block burnt down. So now, Raphael had planned to build the theater coming in April, but when the Opera House burnt down, the Morse family said, yeah, we're going to build a new theater. We're going to call it the Morse Theater. So then Raphael said, maybe we shouldn't have 2 theaters across from each other. So he changed his plans, and he built the building that we know as the Venice Cafe, and he put a grocery store there. and Vozeller's Market. And there's some top around 35 cents a pound. Veal cutlets, 35 cents a pound. Yeah, this is from 1932, August of 1932. Native corn, 20 cents. Yeah. Oh, and we specialize in pure Italian olive oil and all kinds of American and Italian groceries. So, yeah. And then at some point it became the Venice Cafe. I'm not sure exactly what year, but yeah.
How many clams for 15 cents?
Steamed clams, 15 cents. 15 cents a clam? No. No, no. Well, but, I don't know, maybe that's for the meal. This is 1933, so yeah, right during the Depression.
Notice the phone number.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. That's right. Anybody know who phone number one had? Who had phone number one? There was a woman on Cottage Street. I know this is back in the 50s. Her name was Edna Morrissey, and she had phone number one. And then when we converted to dial, it became 528-0001. Now, here's something interesting. In 1942, Guy Vazella approached the selectmen and said, you know, you've got this rule that says that you can only hire women if they're the wives or the daughters of the owner. You know, come on, what's going on? That was it. Yeah. I know. That's right. Yeah. So Guy Vazella.
They had a job and they got married. They had to quit.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Guy Vazella went to the Board of Selectmen with his attorney, Barnard Bachner, to protest a recent ruling of the board that said that women could not be employed in liquor establishments unless they were the wives or daughters of the owner. He felt that this caused an undue hardship against certain establishments and amounted to discrimination. So the board listened to his story and they denied his request. Now this was in April of 42. But by August of 42, they changed their mind. The ban was lifted and they decided to start a plan for the supervision of employees which would not cause any complaints. The restrictions were that only local women could be employed. The names of the women had to be submitted to the Board of Selectmen for approval. And the board explained that they revised their decision because of the hardship on several establishments. There was no cause for complaint, you know? But it was also pointed out there was not too many men because they were off fighting the war. So they said, you know, okay. So they relaxed the rule. So kudos to Guy Vazella for that. Yeah.
They had to let them. There was no men to work.
Exactly.
So all the women were free to work.
That's right. Yeah. And then this is from 1946. They had the Blue Room up there. Was it up in the second floor? Is it the Blue Room? Yeah. Yeah. Was that Al Musey? I think he was a cook there at one time. Was it Al Musey? I think there was some people that were cooks at the Venice. But anyway, yeah. And typical sheet for the yeah. I know. Yeah. Now look at mass old age tax, 5%. So I know in the 60s, Massachusetts finally got the sales tax, but I'm not sure if that was a different tax. I don't know. Was it a different tax? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just because, there was no Social Security.
Oh, no
So
social.
old people
Oh.
didn't go until Franklin Roosevelt.
Oh, so that's why they say the old age tax. They had no Social Security.
Where they had, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, good to know.
Roosevelt put in the.
Oh,
Well, because before that, if you were old, you were on your uppers, you had to depend on your relatives.
So maybe this goes back to
It was a tax to give them some money.
right. So maybe this goes back to World War II days then.
Before that.
Yeah.
Way
Okay.
Before that.
Sure.
Yeah, because, that was the only way, and then the older people began to get a little money,
Yeah, the older people started to get money, right?
get a little bit of cash.
Yeah. Good. All right.
Otherwise, they had to save. I hope they died before it was gone.
Well, that's it, right?
Become a waitress.
Oh, yeah. So in December of '67, the Venice Cafe and the house that was to the right of it were demolished, and the Venice Cafe moved down to Union Street. And sorry, this is what the area looks like today. Malloy's Garage extended into that. This is what I want. This is where the Venice Cafe moved to down on Union Street. And there's Guy Vazella. Is that Michael Costello?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure who the guy is with the red hat. Anybody know him? No. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Ah, the Bright Farm Dairy Stand, which became Texas Chuck Wagon, which became the Caravan Restaurant. Now, if I get anything wrong, you tell me, okay? Here's from 1908. In March of 1908, George Ribeiro, he was employed with the Adams Express Company in Narragansett, Rhode Island, decided to take up residence in Franklin. And he worked in conjunction with Harry Bright, who would run the Warren Bright Freight Company. Now, what I did some research on this, and what happened was, let's see, Warren Bright, who died in May of 1907, just before this, he was the father of Harry Bright and Elvira Bright. In December of 1896, Elvira Bright married George Ribeiro. And I got a copy of their marriage record. I can show it to you afterwards. And his occupation, Mr. Ribeiro's occupation when he got married, was shown as an express messenger. So he had some experience in it. So when Harry Bright, when he worked with Harry Bright, he already had experience in that. And then in May of 1921, this article appeared in the Sentinel. It said that he's installing a modern dairy on his farm on West Central Street. Would that be the actual dairy that we see? Okay, yeah.
Before that was just a farm.
Just a farm, right, yeah. And then the Bright Farm Dairy. This picture is taken from the early 30s. And many thanks to Priscilla Ribeiro O'Neill, the granddaughter of George and Elvira Ribeiro, for providing this picture. Thank you very much. And there it is, Bright Farm.
A lot of things. That's the latter part. The beginning was just a stand.
Right, right.
But he enlarged it and made a restaurant.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
It used to have entertainment. In the
That's right. A lot of entertainment. Yeah, that's right.
And concerts, silent movies.
Silent movies, yeah. Well, here, look at this.
Silent movies.
Yeah.
Is that over where Forge Park and all that?
Yes, it's,
Yeah.
it's where the shopping center is.
Well, I'm going to show you a picture of today. You'll see where it is. Yeah, right.
It was right where the shopping, stop and shop was.
Yeah. Now, when Priscilla provided the picture, yeah,
Yeah,
when she provided the picture, she also wrote a little history of Bright Farm Dairy. She said that it became a destination in the 1930s and the 1940s for ice cream, as well as the restaurant and the entertainment that took place there. Her father, Irvin, was the dairyman and the one who pasteurized, bottled, and delivered the milk from the dairy.
and made all the ice cream.
And made all the ice cream. Let's see. He also learned how to make ice cream. Oh. Yep. And during the 1940s, the dairy stand was enlarged and enclosed with a series of booths and a full-time kitchen in the rear, as well as tables for large parties. A full sandwich menu and 3 dinners were added: fried clams, fried chicken, hamburgers and hot dogs, and homemade beans. Then they began to offer fried clams as well as homemade pies.
And somebody came along and talked him into fried clams, and he brought it over and he made them in the back, and
Yeah.
I happened to be working that day.
Wow.
And everybody loved them.
Everybody loved them, huh?
Yeah, 25 cents and 50 cents.
25 cents for clams? Wow.
No, 25 cents for half a pint, 50 cents.
Oh, okay. Now, in the early 40s, they put up a large screen, and they had a drive-in. And I saw this ad in in August of 1940. This appeared in the Franklin Sentinel, and it said every Thursday night, beginning in August, starting at 8:30, a full 2-hour show of talking motion pictures. Sit in your car and enjoy a fine program, absolutely without charge or obligation. Pretty cool. Yeah.
Kids that went around selling popcorn.
Oh, they sold popcorn? Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Now, here's a little film. The Bright Farm Dairy auction, but Mr. Ribeiro keeps his ice cream stand. This is 1943. Unfortunately, the farm went up for auction. So this is from the Stanley Chilson collection. That was the day of the auction.
Gorilla bought the business.
Yeah. Do you remember that day?
My father was ill.
Yeah. Do you remember that day?
Yes.
You do. Yeah.
That-
Wow. Yeah.
I grew up on that farm.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you say about the business?
Gorilla bought the business, and because the land came with it, the auction was for all the accoutrements that were on it, because he had no use for that.
Right.
He just wanted the business.
Yeah. This is looking towards the center of town. The arrows are pointing to the Bright Farm Dairy Stand, and you can see it's looking from the other direction.
Yeah.
That's West Central Street, obviously.
That's the shopping center.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. Now, in March of 1949, the Bright Farm Dairy Stand was sold to Mr. and Mrs. John Smith of Hampton, New Hampshire. Elvira sold it off. Yep.
My father was,
Yeah. Yep.
he
Couldn't
couldn't manage it anymore.
manage it anymore. Yeah. And then at some point it became Texas Chuck Wagon. Anybody remember Texas Chuck Wagon? Yeah. Okay. I don't have any pictures of it when it was Texas Chuck Wagon, unfortunately. And unfortunately, I don't have many pictures of the Caravan either, but I did find this article. In the late 1960s, the Daniello family took over the restaurant and renamed it the Caravan. And in 1969, this clipping was in the Sentinel, and the Harmonica Rascals were there. Show, dancing, dining, and cocktails. Yep. And then every Friday and Saturday night, dance to the Manhattans. So that's pretty cool. And there's what it looks like today. That's where the farm was right there. Yeah. I think Franklin Fence took over where the thing was there for a while too. You remember Franklin Fence? Yeah.
The barn was sold to somebody, and they moved it, put it up someplace else.
Right. Oh, really?
The oldest building in Franklin.
Was it? The oldest building in Franklin, the barn? Really?
The farmhouse burned down eventually.
It burned down, yeah.
But, where Franklin Fence was the barn, and they sold that, and they moved it piece by piece.
Oh, yeah.
Suburban to somewhere.
They did a lot of that, moving buildings in Franklin. Paul Compton was kept pretty busy.
Probably was cheaper than building the land.
I suppose, yeah. Lola's Dairy. Then Wellick's Restaurant, and then became Florentina Ristorante and Club Cadillac. And that was a destination in the 60s and 70s. We used to ride around, do the Franklin 500. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Lola's Dairy. That's where today's Big Y is down there on East Central Street. It was always sad. They had this hand-painted sign that was in the window, closed for the season, see you in April. You know, in the fall, they close the place up. So, yeah. Pippinells. I didn't realize this until later. Ron Bisciano started Pippinells over there on Dean Avenue. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
next door, across from your family's house.
Yeah, I know, right across the street from me, but I had moved up by
There
then.
was College Pizza too at one time.
Yeah, that was in the building that they tore down.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that one, actually.
Arts Diner used
Yeah, well, that was in that, right. We're going to talk about that, too, yeah. But that was where Peter Pilastri had his plumbing store right in there. So then Ron moved it down to West Central Street, and it became the restaurant known as 3. I just saw Ron Bisciano this past summer at the Farmers Market. Looks great.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, looks really good, yeah. The Nautilus. We weren't allowed to go in there, but we did anyway. We're on West Central Street. That's where today's Black Box is. Yeah. The Redstone Restaurant. Now that was right on the bridge where Jimmy's Liquor used to be. The Redstone Restaurant. That was there in the 1920s. Yep, so it's just a small little restaurant. The Dairy Freeze, the Brookside, and then China Crown. How many people went to the town pool and then walked up that gravel road and to the Dairy Freeze and got ice cream and everything? Well, that's where the Dairy Freeze was.
The trains used to run around.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Little train. Nick
That's-
Giardino owned that train.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
Him and Joe Vendetti.
Yeah. Oh, they had a little train there. Yeah, Joe Vendetti, right.
And Nick Giardino.
Nick Giardino.
Yeah, they They own that train.
There was a little train, yeah.
They still got it.
I seem to remember that.
They
Yeah.
still own that.
I still own that train. Wow. Yeah. Then it became the Brookside. And then the only picture I could really find when it became the China Crown restaurant was this one when, what do you think? Another house being moved. Look at the price of gas, 95 cents a gallon. So this had to be the early 70s. But there's the China Crown restaurant over in the back.
95 cents, that was expensive.
I know it, yeah. Oof. Down on the farm. Oh yeah, down on Partridge Street. So apparently the grand opening, look at who the under management of Albert Fico. Al Fico. Huh. And then Pat Pisano. I used to work with Pat Pisano's father at Clark Cutler on the third shift.
Really?
And then Pat Pisano, I see him around town a lot. He's a good guy. Yeah.
He was.
Yeah, always in a suit, or necktie and everything. Yeah,
Christian brothers.
yeah, Christian, yeah, that's right, yeah. Christian Brothers.
Leave the bottle on the bar.
He used to just leave them the bottle.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
He used to build them. And he,
At the train
bottle was
stop.
in front of him, he poured it whenever he felt.
Yeah.
Drank a lot of water with
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he always had a water case.
He had a certain chair too,
Yeah. Well,
people got up and moved. That's just the rules down there.
well, it's like the Union Cafe. There was one seat at the end of the bar, Lefty Bartolome. You didn't sit, you always sat there. Yeah, absolutely. Or Norm from Cheers, you know. Union Cafe, the Union Street Grill and Acapulco's restaurant. This was in the 1930s when the Charles Acaro market was there. And eventually, Colaci family took it over and it became the Union Cafe. And then it became the Union Street Grill. And then now today it's Acapulco's restaurant. How many remember the sign? Couples only, no stags.
Yeah.
Really? You're going,
Couldn't sit at the bar.
yeah, right, yeah.
Girls could not sit at that bar.
That's right. But I remember I was on the bar side one time, and I saw Bill, my friend Bill, and a couple other couples in the other room. So I said, hey, I'm going to talk to him. So I went in. I came back out, and Willie, the older Willie, comes up to go and say,
The old man.
what were you doing in that room? Well, I was seeing my friends. He goes, can't you read? Couples only, no stags. Don't do it again. Okay, Willie.
When they put the addition on down there, a car drove through.
Yes.
And they had it plywooded up and somebody graffiti. Willie's driving.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
It was there for months.
I remember that, yeah. Willie's Drive-In. That's funny.
Probably in the late 70s.
It was, yeah, I remember that.
Pudge Brogan and Mary Griffin sat at that bar one day.
Yeah.
The old man was behind the bar.
Yeah.
And he would not even look at them.
You're kidding.
No, he wouldn't even drink. They sat there, deliberately sat there.
Oh, man.
They try to play their, woman's lip stuff.
Oh,
They
jeez.
ain't cut no ice with him.
No.
Wouldn't give them a drink.
Wow. Bartlett and Fales. This is on the corner of Cottage Street. And it was a popular place from what I've been told. I don't remember it before my time, but it was a popular place for ice cream.
It had penny candy. too.
Penny candy? Yep.
Go to the movies.
Oh, okay. Kind of like Jimmy's did, too, huh?
Cents for candy.
Yep.
Took it all afternoon.
And then, let's see, and then in September of 1944, Mrs. Marion Gebb and Mrs. Alice Smith took over in management of the Bartlett and Fales, but they continued to operate it under that name. And then it eventually, they sold it and it became the Cottage Corner. Yeah, the Corner Cottage. A Corner Cottage is what they called it. But Mrs. Smith, she also, before the paper store, the Guerri Sacconi's paper store used to be Smith's Newsstand. She was the one that operated that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it became the Cottage Corner. The Corner Cottage. There it is. Yeah. Now, on Dean Avenue, the Country Kitchen, the coffee shop, College Pizza, DiMeglio's Pizza. In the early 50s, the Country Kitchen was established in there. What used to be there, Benjamin Franklin Savings Bank. They had moved over from Union Street. And in the, yeah, and then they were in there until in the 50s. So yeah, early 50s, and that's when they built their bank downtown in Franklin. And that's when the Country Kitchen moved in there. And then Sonny Remillard was, I think it was Art's Coffee Shop. That's when he was there, Arthur Remillard. And eventually it would get sold and became College Pizza, and then DiMeglio's Pizza. Now this picture is in 1954, just after the hurricane. And you see the tree that's over across the road. I was 5 years old, and I lived across the street from that. I remember looking out, and I remember seeing that tree. Yeah,
Was it 54, that picture?
54, yep.
The 54 Ford sitting there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah, yep. 54 Ford.
Yeah, brand new.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah. Then the coffee shop, that was from 1964. Sonny Remillard owned it. Yeah. A mighty good pastry shop. This was downtown. Yep, Badges and Dorico.
In Newberry. Was that in Newberry's or was that?
Yes. Yes.
'Cause
They,
Newberry's
they moved there in 1958. Yeah.
Pearl and the other woman that worked there.
Yep.
This is Paul. Albert Paul's mom and this woman Pearl.
Albert Paul's mother and Pearl.
I think they were sisters or something. They worked at donut counter.
Okay. I think Emma Rustino, is that a woman that worked there too, I believe? Yeah. And then Florence DeBadges worked there too. I've got, Stanley Chilson took a really cute pictures of Florence DeBadges behind the counter. She's, you know, that's kind of cute. I don't have it here, but yeah. Big Ben's Sub Shop.
Number one.
There it is, right there. Yeah. Big Ben's Sub Shop. Jimmy's Ice Cream. Can't forget that place. Yeah. Jimmy Cahias owned it.
Ooh, down the bridge?
Yeah, yeah, that's right on the bridge. Yep.
Jimmy the Greek.
Jimmy the Greek.
Jimmy shop on one side and a package store right there.
That's right. That's right.
You walk right in one to the other.
I know it. That's right. You had to go up that step. It was like a step there. You got to be careful. Yeah,
Yeah, Nick.
that's right. Stella G. Almost.
You know, halfway in here, she dealt with the blind, for the blind.
Yep. Yeah, she was very active in town. Yeah. Stella G. On. That's right. Yeah. She used to have a TV program on the Franklin TV called. Well, I know Nan Rafter took it over. It's called Senior Connection today. I'm not sure. What was it called? Senior Connection when Stella had it?
Probably.
Yeah, I think it was. It might have been. Yeah. Yeah. Darlene's Donuts. There it is.
12 cents for coffee
12 cents for coffee? Oh,
to go.
to go.
12 cents.
Oh, 12 cents to go.
Cents, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Bazzini used to walk down the street with his own cup. I didn't give him a dime. He wouldn't pay the 2 cents.
Oh, jeez.
That's the truth.
I believe.
That is the truth.
Still does it with Ben Franklin. Every morning.
For his own cup.
Yeah.
I
Well,
worked there in high school.
yeah. Well, you know, Union Cafe, they used to, if you brought your own bowl, you could get spaghetti. So how many times, we had a bowl, it was about this big, it was blue colored.
Fill it up.
And we'd bring it, they'd put aluminum foil on the top, and we'd have it on our lap, bring it home, and it was hot. It was like, oh, but yeah, we'd get spaghetti from the Union Cafe. Yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah.
and we'd bring our own bowl.
Oh, really?
McCann Brothers. Now, some people remember this. I don't remember it, but I've talked to people that do remember it. McCann Brothers downtown, right in the Metcalf block. Another good place for ice cream, apparently. This was down on the corner of Hutchinson Street. They were pretty good for fried clams and things, takeout. Mostly takeout because it was just a small little building. Still there, actually. Yeah, yeah, right, yeah. That little building, yeah.
Fish and chips.
Fish and chips,
It's
yeah.
only open like one day a week or something, wasn't it?
Was it? Yeah, probably, yeah, yeah. Yeah. The San Angelo Club in the Dugout. That was on the corner of Wachusett Street.
Angelo Caro.
Yep.
He was a great guy.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
He went there drunk at 1:30 in the morning. He'd still be cleaning up. Sit down. I'm getting a drink, but I'm going to make you something to eat.
Oh, geez. Wow, really?
He'd make you something to eat. He was so drunk, he'd make you something to eat, but he wouldn't say no booze.
No booze, yeah. And then this was the Puritan Drugs snack bar. Today, Teddy Gallagher's is there.
The Favors, right?
Huh? Yeah, yeah, Red Neighbor. Ray Neighbor.
Ray Neighbor.
Ray Neighbor, yeah. Then Connie's Drugstore, they had their counter. And this picture was provided by Tim Carney, the grandson of Mike Carney. He's posted it on Facebook. Yep. Connie's Drugstore. Yep. Mike Connie's the one on the far right. And Bob Connie is in there, yep.
But that looks a lot nicer than a Walgreens or a CVS.
No, I know it, huh? Yeah. And then Rizzoli's had their snack bar. Anybody know who that woman is? Rita Hines. Yep.
Who is it?
Rita Hines.
Rita Hines.
Yep.
She wasn't married or anything, I don't think either, was she?
I don't know. Really didn't know her. Yeah.
The whole time I ever knew her.
Now J.J. Newberry's had a snack bar, but I haven't been able to find an actual picture of that snack bar. But it was when W.T. Grant vacated their store, and then Newberry's expanded into it. That's when they built their snack bar. So
Do you know who worked there?
who?
Franny Harvey.
Oh, Fran Harvey. Okay, Newberry's.
Yes, she worked the snack bar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was,
She worked the snack bar, huh?
and what's her name?
Cecilia.
Yeah,
Wow.
Franny Harvey.
Wow, Fran Harvey. So that's where the snack bar was on that far wall. Yeah.
She used to go in there all the time.
Gertrude's Coffee Shop. Now this was on right near the bridge. Gertrude Pellegri, she was the mother of Arthur C. Pellegri, owned that. Was only there for about 2 years. 1939, she established it, but in 1942 they had a fire. A cigarette started a fire, and then they sold it.
Gotta get rid of that.
The sandwich shop. That was over on on East Central Street. J. Carlton Mason was the manager. Buzzer Mason.
Was that before or after used cars?
Well, let's see. This is 1944, so I think it was. I remember him being at Trim and Chevrolet in the 60s.
68.
Yeah. I got a story for you though. I was down getting a haircut with Sully the barber, and Buzzer had just finished his haircut, and Sully says to him, "Hey, you still got that thing in your wallet?" He goes, "Yeah, you want to see it?" Okay. Pulls out his wallet. Do you know what Buzzer Mason was carrying around? A $1,000 bill. A $1,000 bill. Oh, wow. Legal tender. Yeah. And this is 1960s. I don't know when he got it, but yeah. Oh yeah. This is probably shortly after the A.J. Cataldo block was built. The modern cafe was in there.
When was that? Look at that car.
Yeah, I know it, huh? That's got to be at least like 1925.
What is this?
An old Model T Ford.
There's a T here.
Yeah. You can get any color you want, as long as it's black. The Melody Club and the Hillside Club up on Ruggles Street, way up the end.
Now, who owned the original Hillside Club, do you know?
Was it Marty Pember?
I think so.
I
I'm
think.
not sure.
Yeah, let's see, because
Was he the first one?
yeah, here's a Hillside Club. I think it became the Hillside, and Marty. Yeah,
Then Marty, yeah.
there you go. Yeah. The Benjamin Club.
Junior,
Yep.
Martello.
I guess the Coughlin family owned that.
Yeah.
It's where it says Bill wants his friends to know he is again in contact with the outside world. Must have been Bill Coughlin. I don't know. But anyway, it's up on the corner of on the intersection of King Street and Washington Street.
They walked out of that place and locked the door and left everything there.
Yeah. Well, that's what Disney DeCecco used to do. Well, actually, we'll talk about him in a minute on the Red Onion.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that
You guys
then.
are done, lock up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just the money will still be in the register when you get back in the morning. Downtown there was a restaurant called Eddie's.
Eddie Capoletti.
Was it?
Eddie Capoletti.
Oh, okay. Eddie Capoletti. All right.
Yeah.
Eddie Capoletti. All right.
He's still alive as far as I know.
It's still alive.
Living in Blackstone.
Blackstone. Yeah.
And he travels all over the world.
Wow. Well,
Doing, he's a serious martial arts contender.
martial arts.
You
Wow.
wanna see him. You never know, the guy's gotta be like 90 years old.
Well, that's what kept him in shape.
He's in great shape.
Yeah.
He's over in Blackstone with Socket Line right on the main drag going out of Blackstone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Have coffee with him in the morning.
Yeah. And then it became Manny's Restaurant. The Cottage Inn. Now, I saw this clipping and I saw 82 Emmons Street. Now, this is from 1931. 82 Emmons Street. Well, that's where Dr. Mercer's house was. So, I guess it was there. Yeah, look. The Red Onion. Here we go. Disney DeCecco's place, right behind Liberty Grocery. There's a guy playing the accordion. Anybody know who that is? Gigi Ranieri, huh? And the arrow is pointing to Disti DeCecco, the owner. On the drums. Who is it? Pete D'Amelio. Okay, Pete D'Amelio on the drums. Yeah. You know, look at
Shiny on the left here.
which
Doc's father.
which one?
John Bishani on the left.
Right here.
Yeah, that's
John.
Doc's father.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the Macheroni twins next to him.
What? This is a Macheroni twin. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know which one.
All right.
One of them.
This is great. Yeah.
You see Mike Daniel in there.
Mike D'Amelio. Which where?
Mike is right to the right of that red arrow.
Right there.
Back, in the back.
Oh, yeah, I can.
Okay, yeah. I'll tell you, there's one guy, I'm not sure if it really can't, maybe it's him or not, but if that doesn't look like Butchie Gilinato, I don't know who does. But it can't be, can it be really? This is the early 50s. He wasn't that old, and I don't think it was Benny. So I don't know, but it sure looks like Butchie Gilinato, I'll tell you. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's what I mean, so. Yeah, who?
I've got that picture with all the names on it.
Oh, do you? Oh, cool. Oh, I want to see that. All right, yeah, great.
Ernie Benelli, is he in that
I don't know. Well, Al says he's got all the names on the pictures, so I'm going to get that. Yeah. And then from the Woonsocket Call, they tore the place down so they could do that, fix that intersection. So, the Abruzzi Club, yeah, right underneath, Central Auto was underneath it, over on West Central Street. Yeah, that's where Friendly's was eventually.
Club is in Franklin.
And the White Star, which then became the Shamrock, but the White Star started over on Depot Street, in the same building where Newberry's was. This is Mike Massaro. He was the manager of the White Star Cafe. But in December of '44, they had a big fire in that block, heavily damaged it. So what Mike did is he reestablished the White Star after the damage was fixed. But then in later years, he moved over to West Central Street, to right next to where the Nautilus restaurant was, in the Black Box building. Then it became the Shamrock after that. And there's the White Star Cafe when it was over there on West Central Street. The 140 Club, which became the train stop, and actually Ski had it too, but yeah, the old 140 Club. Yeah.
Maybe there was a hotel at one time.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was it was called the American Hotel. One time it was called the Lincoln Hotel. Yeah. Oh yeah. But when Ski bought it, I said, Ski, I was at the bar. I said, I'd love to see you upstairs. He goes, you want to go up? Yeah. So we went up and looking around, walking down the hallway, all these different rooms. It was all abandoned by then. Yeah, beds were unmade and mattresses, whatever. But just looking at it, like, wow, different rooming house. It was a rooming house, really. Joe Lazzarini lived there for a while. Fred Pizzini lived there for a while. Different people, yeah. Yeah.
That area now, isn't that the drive-through for the bank?
Exactly. Yep. That's exactly where it was. Yep. And then it became the train stop. Now, the blue arrow, when I saw this on the Stanley Chilson picture. That blue arrow, you can see like a dirt line right there. I can remember as a kid, when the block was next to it, the Ray block was next to it. There was only about this much space between that building and the Ray block. Just this much room, and it was brick wall all the way up. I remember as a kid, I used to go around in the back, and I used to look down there, and it was claustrophobic. I'm thinking, wow. But then I finally got the guts to do it. So I walked in, I walked all the way up to here, because when you got to here, there was a brick wall in front of you. And I remember going up that little hill. So when I saw that, I said, wow, I remember that hill. So just thought I'd throw that out there.
This is Ledbury's trading post.
Yeah, the trading post was in that building, yeah. That's right, yeah. The Red Lion, AKA the Onion. We got some memories of the Onion. Some we can even talk about too. Right, Jim?
Mike
So-
Hines used to run it.
Who?
Shaughnessy, Mike Hines,
Oh, Mike Hines
Shaughnessy.
and Shaughnessy? Yeah, okay. The Onion. the Electra, Ralph's Pub, and the Uptown Pub. I know it. This is from the 1940s. And this is when it was the Electra. And you know who actually owned it for a while was Benny Gilinato. Benny Gilinato, because there was I saw an advertisement that said, the Electra, under the new management of Benny Gilinato, he will greet you at the bar. So, yeah. And then
Monocular ran it for a while, didn't Joe
a
Monocular?
Monoculio, probably, yeah.
Gigi DeSantis.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. There was a woman, her name was Priorello, I think, that owned it too. I think, in fact, you can't really see the red sign right there. There was a Priorello name above it, and I think they were the owners at one time too. So, yeah.
You have to be Italian to own a restaurant?
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, I know it. Well, I hate to break the bad news to you, but that's the end.
This program was made possible by your Franklin friends and neighbors, good folks just like you. Thanks for supporting Franklin TV. And thanks for watching.